I am your host, Joshua Pantoresco. I write stuff and podcasts too. This week's Drink and Draw is a touch early. I will be doing Woodbridge this weekend, but my guest, he's back. He's back for more punishment, and I guess he didn't have enough the last time. He is the one and only APFuchs. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I fixed my computer all day. I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, but I mean, it happens. There are days.
Well, yeah, I had some stuff go on today too that kind of dampened things a little bit, but starting to perk up now.
It perks out. It's not the Dr. Pepper you're drinking.
This way.
Yeah, this way. There you go. The Dr. Pepper cult stuff right there. I'm always convinced. There's like a cult of you guys.
Yeah, there is. We have secret meetings and everything.
Yeah, I've always kind of thought so myself. Like there's just secret meetings. You guys just spread your love to the rest of the world and various.
This is one of the official robes of it too. See?
Oh, I see. Is there like a title system? Like, is there like a rank and file, or is that too much information for the public to know?
That's way too much information for the public.
Way too much information. Okay, so there's. But we do know.
All they need to know is I'm a part of the Dr. Pepper cult.
The Dr. Pepper cult. Okay, so we have our confirmed. There is a Dr. Pepper cult for everybody to know and be aware of, and I figure that's a good way to start the show. What I'm doing here right now is just about moving into.
I'm a part of the Dr. Pepper cult.
Hey, that's how these things work, man. That's how these things roll. We do this stuff. So for me, so you got more experience with this than I do. I'm starting this right now. I'm trying to finish my novel by hopefully the weekend. That's kind of my goal. Is like my next release of the rough draft of the written thing, and then from an illustrated point of view, from an illustration point of view, I'm hoping to get that. I quietly started on Tuesday. It was Tuesday or Monday night because I had a guest that had his own technical problems, and we were like, well, I guess I'm drawing tonight. So because it was just such a last minute when all these problems kind of came to the forefront that so we rescheduled, but I still drew. So I started thinking about that. So how do you approach it? Because you've done your own fair share of this.
Approach what? Like my drawing?
Yeah, your drawing when you incorporate it into your work, like your writing work.
Well, I haven't done an illustrated book. Like I have not done one where there's spot illustrations throughout or anything. All my books are prose only. However, I have been thinking about doing some drawings for some classic novels.
Yeah.
Like Dracula, for example, or Frankenstein, and do some.
No, it's nothing wrong with that at all. I mean, I was just practice drawing. I have an illustrated Alice in Wonderland from a class, like annotated Alice. It was a really nice book, and it was illustrated and all that stuff. I started like when just getting the hang of drawing. I started drawing from there. Like I'm doing an Alice kind of take, and then figured drawing her would give me a bit more insight into her character, right? Very whimsical character, even though and dark. I mean, that is a weird. Alice in Wonderland is a very weird. I think that is where for me, the intersection between. I find like children's stories in particular have this really weird dynamic of like telling these scary stories all the time, right? And so
I'm listening. Don't worry.
No, I'm not worried at all. It's fascinating to me that I guess I'm gonna be doing some Alice in Wonderland stuff tonight. But I'll start there and we'll work our way through it. But no, it just occurred to me that when I did it, that it's fascinating that like fairy tales in particular have this like big pool of darkness in the middle of it.
Yeah, they do.
It's fascinating that they do that. But I think Alice is the epitome of it. What do you think?
In terms of the dark and weird, yeah, for sure.
Definitely weird. Weird's its own concept there. But you look at history, like you look at the Grimm fairy tales, you look at Alice in Wonderland, you look at heck, even a lot of good. Even Dr. Seuss has some dark has some pretty dark connotations in some of the stories. So I mean, there's this like really like I feel like horror and kids fiction fit together incredibly well.
It's funny you say that. I did a collaboration many years ago, well, 15 years ago, and it was a kids centered story, but it was a horror story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to, what's the word, find the balance between kids and darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the R.L. Stine thing. Like obviously he can't write too dark because he'll alienate his audience. So he's found a nice balance between dark stuff and light stuff, for lack of a better term.
No, that's cool. Yeah, no, I think it's an important tool especially in kids fiction because in kids fiction, I think we simplify these things because I think as adults, I'm actually more convinced as I get older, we really don't have a clue what that looks like. Don't really understand what it feels like. No thought to that?
Not really. I sort of got lost in my drawing here.
What are you drawing?
Oh, I'll show you in a second, or I'll show everybody in a second.
Sure. Sure thing.
Are you working on something there?
Yeah, I'm working on. I'm doing an Alice in Wonderland style warm up. So, but I'm doing something a little different too, even for me. For me, this is very much learning and storytelling, understanding how to tell a story with playing cards and with imageries. I personally like my favorite format for fiction these days is the Japanese light novel.
I haven't read any of those. You were talking about storytelling with playing cards. I think it's Willie Nelson. Do you ever see his story where he's using playing cards and it's also a kind of a card trick built into it?
No.
You should definitely Google or YouTube it.
Okay.
It's pretty awesome.
We'll definitely check out.
Definitely. Yeah, it's about, I don't know, 5 minutes in length or so. He's telling this cool story using the cards as characters.
Yeah.
But it's also built into a card trick, so it's super cool.
It's a neat idea, actually. I once upon a time, when I was a kid, I used to imagine playing cards as various WWE superstars way back in the day. So my imagination was pretty wild as a kid. Still kind of is. I don't think I've changed that much.
Yeah, I've been the same way. I've been living in my head for pretty much my whole life, since however old you're allowed to do that. I'm going over this drawing with a pen, but just so that the lines show up on the camera, but it's not finished pen work. It's sort of casual.
Huh. As for me, I am working very hard right now on. I'm working very hard right now on this little drawing. I might have to try to draw a playing card at some point, like a jack or a what's the term, a queen or a king, in some detail at some point. But you can actually kind of work around that a little bit.
That's one of my ultimate. Not ultimate is too strong a word. One of my goals is to one day do my own deck of playing cards.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. You could design it all. You get them all printed up, and then share with people.
Yeah, I had a buddy. He was talking about. He was working on a little bit of the Arcana, which is interesting because the Arcana And playing cards do have a shared history. They're actually similar decks, with the big difference being obviously one's used to tell is for fortune telling purposes, but another one, and the other one is more for the game aspect of it. But they have similar, much like playing cards. Tarot decks have suits, right? They have various things that are similar. Obviously the Arcana cards are the big difference between them, but it is entirely. It's interesting to see. It's interesting where things come from, where things going. So what would be the theme of your like jacks and jokers and all those particular things, or have you thought that far ahead, or have you thought, I'll figure it out when I do it?
I want to know. Well, in terms of the playing card set, I would like to do an Axioman card set.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, well, I've seen there's like I have a deck of X-Men cards.
Yes.
And X-Men is on the different numbers and all that stuff. And I thought it would be really cool to do like an Axioman one where you have him and the supporting cast all in different poses throughout each suit.
Yeah. Totally could. I mean, you totally could. I gotta say, it's been neat to discover skills I never knew I had. I've actually sold 2 drawings, which I've never would have thought about that.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, here I finished my first one.
Let's see what you've done.
So that's
Frederick. A very happy-go-lucky dog. Anyway,
yeah, he's from my webcomic.
Okay, talk about your webcomic.
Fred Comics. They are Fred Comics. Technically, Fredricus is the guy's name. It's an anthropomorphic dog in a dystopian sci-fi world, and it's all this whole idea where humans colonized to the moon, and then anthropomorphic animals took over the Earth, but the humans didn't leave the Earth in really great shape, so it's sort of dystopian.
Okay.
And then it has some sci-fi tech and that sort of stuff in there too. And that's at www.fredricus.com. Fredricus is spelled Fredrikus.
Right into the marketing right away.
Pardon me?
Right into the marketing right away.
Well, I drew a picture of him, so I still getting used to this camera angle.
It's all good. I tend to go to the very end with the marketing stuff, because as we talk, people don't necessarily remember the content right away, but they do hear it at the end or at the very beginning, right? So, which is kind of why I do it the way I do it. But
right. I just talk about the work the whole way through.
We work the whole way through. So we were talking last time about you doing comic book stuff at some point.
Right.
Right. So, have you started?
Oh yeah. Well, my webcomic that I just mentioned, that's comic book stuff there, because those will eventually be collected into like a compendium or an omnibus of some sort. And then I want to do some Axioman comics, so I'm in the process of scripting them right now.
So when you do you thumbnail when you script, or do you just script?
I've done it 2 ways. I do it both ways depending what I'm doing. Like the Fredricus stuff, I do that sort of what I call the Harvey Picar method, which is basically stick figures and boxes and that sort of stuff, just to write the story out as quickly as possible. And then go and of course do the good copy later. But for the Axioman stuff, because it's more mature and it's more grown up and serious, that I just do traditional scripting on. You know,
Okay.
page 1, panel 1, here's your description, dialogue. Panel 2, here's your description, dialogue, and so on.
I see. Does it work for you? Like, do you enjoy, which process do you enjoy more? If you enjoy them.
It has to be. I don't. I enjoy both equally because each one is conducive to the type of project I'm working on. So
Okay.
when I'm doing the more cartoony stuff, Frederica stuff, that's a different headspace than doing a more serious superhero stuff.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
So
So,
yeah, I wouldn't say one works better than the other. I would just simply say find what works for you and run with it.
absolutely. Won't argue that at all. Almost got that eye figured out. A little too big on the eye. Smaller. I've been I've been teaching myself all kinds of tricks on this. It's amazing how simple drawing is on one hand and how hard it is on the other.
It really is. Are you the kind of guy who knows what he's drawing, or is you just let the drawing take you wherever it goes, or is it a combination of both?
A little bit of both. Um, like I usually draw from stuff, although I have been slowly experimenting with more and more of my original stuff. Um, in terms of modeling and scaling, right? In terms of modeling and scaling, it's been, it's really weird they did it that way. Kind of makes sense, but kind of doesn't. The arm, I think that interesting drawing to do for Alice, like to model it from, but the hand is in such an odd spot.
Oh, this isn't turning out very well.
It doesn't have to turn out perfect. It's okay. In fact, sometimes that works out better. That it doesn't turn out perfect. You know, I've been learning all kinds of little things about what makes it seem real, what makes it seem less, and often it's that willingness to just do different things and just try different things and sometimes you just embrace it too, right? And as my sister often would joke with me, make it a bird, make it a bird, it'll work out. You know, it is what it is. I have been, like I said, I've been teaching myself little by little how to get more out of, do more with the art, so I can tell a fun story. Now, doesn't mean I get it all right, because I certainly don't get it all right. But it is what it is, and that's kind of how I see it. As for me, as for you, how about you? Like, do you have like a clear like story you want to tell with your images, or do you just I want to draw it because it's awesome?
I would have to say a little bit of both. Um, I tend to visualize the page or the drawing first, like see it in my head, and then kind of look down at the paper and try to imagine that drawing there, and then in a sense almost tracing my own imagination.
Yeah,
Drawing, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of confused. It's kind of hard to explain. But basically, I think of the image that I want, and then I'll draw it out. Instead of letting the image tell me where it wants to go, I tell it where it wants to go. Of course, though, like some surprises happen along the way, like what's his name? Like Bob Ross says, like happy accidents.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're the best
So
things. They're the best things in the world. Like those happy accents.
yeah, so that sometimes that happens during a planned drawing, and then there's your spontaneity or whatever.
No, some of the best accents and some of the best things in life happen because of accents.
Yeah.
Sticky
Here's,
notes,
here's
slinkies.
another sketch.
Yay!
This one's rooted. This one's rooted as Axiom Man in a kind of a fully cloaked pose. Axiom Man's my superhero that I invented, the one that we talked about last time.
Yes. So as your voice has changed, your voice has evolved, for sure, right? Has
Right? You talking writing voice?
Writing voice, just even storytelling voice. Like one thing I've learned as I've gotten older is, what like my voice kind of like what's important to me, right, changes a little bit, right? Not
Right.
completely, because you never completely not change, but there's that moment, and it's not too bad for a first time, I don't think. Definitely learned a lot drawing this, but one of the reasons why I've been like drawing is because it gives me a different look and feeling of when I tell my writing too. It gives my writing a little bit more depth. So suddenly I get language and story in the way I never would have.
How long have you been drawing for?
3 months.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What made you want to start?
I promised. I made a promise. My sister bought me this was a time. This time was a time where you could do something new if you wanted to do something new. Because really, if it doesn't work out, big deal, right? It's not the end of the world, especially right now. It's just like whatever. So I'm like, well, what can I do? What am I made of? What can I see? And so right at the pandemic, when I came back here, my sister drove me down to Windsor, and she went to me and you know, hey, cool, Jessica says hi. So hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
Yeah. But what happens is, so she did, on the way. We went to a Walmart in Mississauga. Oh yeah, Mississauga, London, Ontario, and there I got some supplies, and we hung out for a little bit. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm curious to see what you do." Now, for the first 2 months during the pandemic, I didn't do anything with it, and I was like, "Okay, I can't not do something with it, because if I said I would, I keep my promises if I can. It's just that's who I am." And so the show, this coincided with the fact that I realized, like, for me, the show is my niche, right? The show is who I am and what I do, and everything I do should tie to that. Man, my white rabbit is ominous, but you'll get to see that in just a second here. But so I've been just slowly doing this. Now, the ultimate goal for me, since I've been doing this, and I gotta tell you, confidence happens when you sell when you start selling your stuff, I never expected that to happen in a million years. Nor the people that have come nor the people that have come to draw with me. It's also that's been an incredible thing too. So it's been grateful for the experience and the journey and the ride. By the way, this is my first sketch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Dig it.
Yeah, not a bad first try, huh? So I'm still learning. I'm still using a lot of reference material. I'm still not like I wouldn't call myself good, but I'm having fun. And
yeah. No, I'm the same way. I wouldn't call myself the most excellent artist in the world. I wouldn't say that my stuff is total crap either.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't go. I never will say my stuff's crap. Like I will never ever say that. That's again. I may not. Again, whether or not it's worth people will pay for it is always a question mark. But I mean, I've already had that question answered. So now for me, it's about okay, how good can I become? And I'm always in pursuit, whether it's writing or whether it's illustrating or whether it's podcasting, about being better because I'll never be perfect and I don't really want to be perfect. That's boring. But I want to constantly change and grow and become something more. And to do that, all that requires is that I just keep doing things.
That's right.
How about you, man? What do you get out of your art? Like, what stories do you hope to tell? What's your story with it?
My story with art is sort of an obsessive story. I've had a vivid imagination ever since, always. And when I was old enough to realize you could daydream, when you're however old you are, 4 or 5 years old,
Mm-hmm.
it was all make believe. It was all in my waking hours. I would be dressing up as Superman, running around the house. When it was time to go to bed, as I would lay there to go to sleep, I would be telling myself a story, with me as the hero and that sort of thing. So it's always been a part of my life. And then now it still is. Except now that there's a third aspect to those two other things. There's the daydreaming, there's the make believe. Okay, that's true. I don't run around make believe anymore, other than on Halloween. But what I mean is,
that's too bad. That's too bad. I like that idea of you running around and having a good time. You're a man that I feel deserves to smile a little bit more than he does. And running around like a recess time, hell, I think we all should have recess at this point, because frankly, from what I can tell, we all kind of need it. I don't know why we stopped when we were kids, because honestly, that might have been the silliest decision we've ever made.
yeah, it's funny how making stuff up, like fiction, whatever, or your comic books, or pick your making stuff up, that it's sort of become almost people object to that as they get older. It's like they grow out of it. But in reality, like we do every day is we tell ourselves our stories, our self narratives or experiences with others. We're constantly in story mode.
Yeah, it never stops. We all believe in stories. Now some stories are I have to go to work to pay my bills because that's all I can do, and I'm stuck here and I'm always going to be stuck here, and people do tell themselves that story all the time. Sometimes they tell themselves other stories, right? There are better stories. Um, Maybe I go to work because I pay my bills, but I'm not going to be here forever, and one day I'm going to go and do something else. I mean, there's lots of people that believe that too, and that's a better story, right? But at some point, we all tell ourselves, a zillion little things, and we all do it. We never stops. Like it's just what we tell ourselves is a little different. Oh, that's a long arm. Might make that a little shorter. Also, whoever drew this cheated. I can tell I cheated just a little bit, but it's still a very cool picture. I'm probably going to add my own little take and do my own little take to it.
But to answer your question from earlier, I never stopped making believe. I never stopped daydreaming. Hence why I started basically in my late teens, started writing my first novel. I was 19 when I completed my first novel, and that's coming fresh into adulthood, right? Coming out of your childhood, and even to this
Yeah.
day, even to this day, every day it never stops. You know, I'm either right now I'm focusing on comics, or I'd be focusing on writing in the past. I never stops. It lived too much in my head. Not that it's a bad thing.
No, not as long as you can, as long as you are able to express yourself a little bit, you're good. I mean, hey man, we all live in our heads a little bit.
Yeah, and I think if it's all you know, like as in my case, because I've been doing this since childhood. Um, you know what you know, and you do what you know.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And yeah,
I mean, are you happy with it? I mean, you could always change if you wanted to, you know.
oh no, I'm happy with it. I love getting
Yeah.
getting up every day and having an opportunity to make things up and exercise whatever craft that day, whether that's writing or drawing, or even thinking of creative ways to do the marketing side of all this.
You mean like you're doing right now and drawing random stuff with me?
Just like right now, drawing random stuff. Except this next one's not an original. It's somebody we all know.
Captain Planet, he's a hero, taking pollution down to zero.
I love that show when it was on.
Me too. It's a great show. Captain Planet, he's a hero. Gonna take pollution down to
zero. Na, 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 na,
na. So I was wondering if I could actually get you to sing it. Captain Planet.
I have the worst singing voice. That's one thing about me. Like I have many flaws, but that's like right up there in the top 5 flaws. Is I cannot sing worth a damn.
That's okay. I won't hold it.
Saying that I don't sing to the radio when I'm by myself in the car.
Yeah. But no, hey, listen. You can sing to whatever you want. So let's see.
I'll break your podcast if I start singing.
So, well, they haven't paid me to stop singing yet when I do randomly sing here, so I'm sure you'll be just fine, dude. Be here, like I said, do you, the best you know how to be. No one can stop you from singing if you don't want to. Captain Planet.
Don't stop me now, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. Okay, here, new sketch.
Hey, let's take a look. Ooh, Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is doing his thing, definitely. Power magnify.
Fighting on the
planet's side. And I know people listening to this, yes, we are breaking out in the Captain Planet. If you got a problem with that, that's cool. I won't hold it against you. Well, actually, much. It will hold it against you a little bit because I question anybody that has a problem with Captain Planet. And maybe us singing it, okay, maybe I'll let you.
Yeah, that I can understand.
A little bit pass. But the fact is, if you're not listening to this and you don't have a smile on your face, something's wrong. Also, it's part of my master plan. You see, I'm doing this with a deliberate purpose because master manipulator or something. And that's, I've noticed this. I remember from my last interview, you were a little nervous. And I thought, well, if I can goof off, you'll goof off too. And I'm right.
I got nervous just because it has been so long since I've done an interview.
Yeah, I know. But it's me, dude. No, I mean, I'm not that amazing. I'm amazing, but I'm not that amazing. I mean, I didn't think I'd tongue tie so much, but I do. I have no idea. Chessboard is deceptively harder than it seems. A little bit, anyway. I'm doing the chess. That's why, because you get the color. That's the secret. The secret to the chessboard is you color it.
Did you watch? Because we were talking about mentioning chess. Did you watch The Queen's Gambit on Netflix?
I'm not cool enough for Netflix, my friend. I'm just not cool enough. I don't watch. I don't. No. I'm not cool enough. I'll tell you why I'm not cool enough. See,
so adamant.
I have an addictive personality. So I remember the first time I tried Netflix. It was the Daredevil original series, which was pretty good. Which was, it's a good series. The first season was very strong, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me and say it was a very enjoyable ride. But it's one thing to do that series and enjoy that series. You can do that, and you can look at yourself respectfully in the mirror. It's when Kill la Kill is on, and you binge watch that whole show in one sitting because it's on. No other reason, really. It was on. You realize you had a problem. Big, deep, little problem. And
saying you were watching much?
I decided after the second one that I may not have the self-control for Netflix. I mean, YouTube, if I do watch stuff, it's YouTube. YouTube is my rabbit hole of choice.
Yeah, that's... Here, another sketch.
Woohoo. Yeah. Yay, Superman symbol. This is Alice, the chessboard over them, and the caterpillar smoking. Hookah power. Chugga, 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 chugga. Whoop, whoop. I'm pushing myself a little bit tonight. So, because I'm getting myself ready, because I asked a friend of mine if I could draw her, partly because she's pretty. But in the next book, she's also going to be my next book deals with happiness in very, very, very trying times, which I think a lot of us can relate to right now. And the fact of the matter is, for a lot of us anyway, wow, my awesome one-line chapters have done quite well. It's kind of scary. So I'm keeping my drawings very simple. The theme is skulls, trees, and there's one scene of like pure happiness. I remember one of my ex-girlfriends, the prettiest thing, no, I'm not drawing her, but one of my ex-girlfriends, I remember when she had this ability when she was super happy, she completely disarmed me. I was just like, I have nothing I can say or do. I'm just enjoying this. And one of the happiest times I ever saw her was in the rain. And I was just like, she was just enjoying it, dancing in it, just having a good old time in it. And I looked at that, it's like, that is amazing. And when she smiled like that and she was that happy, I couldn't help but smile back. It was an incredibly beautiful thing I saw. Personally, she did that to me another time too. She was working at a coffee shop, and we were just friends at the time. I literally walked in, and she had discovered how to make a minty London fog. She was so happy with her discovery. I've had them before, but she made it really good. Actually, she made a phenomenal one. Um, and I was just like, but I couldn't say no. She was so elated, and I loved seeing her that happy. I really, really did. It was one of those things in life that made me realize, like, when you see people that are that happy in the moment, that these really, really little things, that's the soul of happiness. That's the true soul of happiness, and that's true soul joy. And those little things are what make this life bearable and tolerable, and as most painful. And it's the little things that above all must be protected at all costs, because those little things are what we remember, not the big stuff. Big
Right.
stuff doesn't matter, right? I mean, there's going to come a time, years down the line, we are going to forget about this pandemic. At least we will never forget it happened, but the impact it had, even through this time, it won't. It will not hit the same way. It won't. It'll be a completely different thing on the registry scale. Some people will be changed forever, no doubt, but some of us, it's going to be more like, that was a time, but do you remember what we did during that time? And that's what I think what a lot of us are going to remember more so. And again, it's those little joys and that ability to find it even in the darkest places. That's what makes life worth living. And
No,
I
I
think,
totally agree.
yeah,
It's a lesson I've been learning as well. It's
yeah,
just these tiny moments throughout the day, these little special moments, just the deep sense of appreciation for them. Like for example, like I go to bed every night, and I kid you not, I go to bed every night excited for my morning cup of coffee.
nice.
Like a kid at Christmas excitement, like, I get the pounding in the chest a little bit. You get a bit restless. So I just love that moment. First thing in the morning, go pour the coffee, sit down, get the phone out for the news, and just have that first sip and just go, ah, here.
Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look here. Batman. All right, man. No. See, I can feel this. I feel this deep down on the inside. I feel you could do better than that one. I feel like you push yourself a little deeper
Wait,
somehow.
talk about this particular bat symbol, you mean?
Yeah, something like I could do like I'm a Green Lantern guy. I could use a Green Lantern symbol, but I feel like in your case,
Well, I could do the bat symbol with the oval.
that'd be okay too. But I feel there's more to you, man. Put like I don't know. I feel like I'm a 3 month newbie. I can draw anything and everything, and like I don't know. I feel
Do
like
you think I'm holding back? Is that it?
yeah, that's what I feel like. I feel like you're holding back a little bit.
I'm I'm more so just doing faster sketches so that I have piece to show to the camera.
Well, that's okay. You go a little longer if you want. But I mean, it's something you want to really draw and experiment with. This is kind of the place to do it. Ooh, that's fun. I might do that one another time. I am playing with trees and stuff because to me, ooh, I like that. That's a really cool concept. Never actually noticed that about the world tree before. That's an interesting connection I never considered. Haha, we'll get to that.
Draw that
Well, I
one.
never showed you this. This is probably going to be the simplest one I do. Kind of, sort of. I'm going to have some fun with it. So I am doing, folks, for the next one, a take on Yggdrasil, the world tree. I had a really, so it is just a tree, but it won't just be a tree either. I actually kind of wondered if they had something like this in ancient Greek, but I don't know if they do or not. So what are you working on now, my friend?
Drawing? Well, I'll pick it up a notch. I'm not at my drawing table. I'm just drawing on my knee. So
Yep.
it's a little bit wobbly.
My right knee is what I'm using right now. Got the whole world in its hands. We got the whole world in its hands. I used to be able to do.
Do you have
Pardon?
noise in your end, sort of like a humming?
Pardon? I couldn't hear you. Sorry. I heard you. Your connection just kind of went long.
Do you have like a humming going on in your on your?
There's a little. My computer actually has a rotating going inside it. That might be where you're hearing the hum.
Could be, yeah. Or maybe I'm just using like regular computer speakers, like the ones built into the laptop too. Those aren't the greatest quality, so.
Oh, it could be a bunch of things. Like I said, when I get to the editing process, when I do edit these episodes, I don't go a heavy edit, but one of the things I do is noise reduction. I look at the wavy stuff, and I try to cut it. So, but that's what I'm working on right now. As is, I'm creating a very, very interesting take on the, hopefully an interesting take on the world tree. Hopefully, we'll find out. On one hand, it's just a tree. On the other hand, it's amazing how many stories are tied to trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But so, comic-wise, read anything cool since we last talked?
No, I've been haven't been feeling too well, so I've been not reading or anything.
So what do you do then to inspire? Like, what's your warm up to get you in that creative mode?
When I'm doing something else that's not creative, for example, I'll start to think about the creative process of what I'm going to do, like whether it's a drawing or writing something. And the more I think about it, the more inspired I get.
Okay.
And then that's how I kind of get into the zone for creating something. I also play I can't remember if I mentioned this last time we talked, but I play the 5-minute rule. Like when I know that I have to really get something done and I don't want to do it. It's the 5-minute rule. So what it is, how it works is you do it for 5 minutes. You commit, you just sit down, you do the work for 5 minutes. If after 5 minutes you feel fine and you're on a roll, or you keep going, well, that's great. But if 5 minutes and you've just had enough, then at least you could say I accomplished those 5 minutes.
It's not a bad way to be. I respect that. I truly think there's like there's a rhythm to work. There's a rhythm to creativity. It's almost like it's music, and the music sometimes challenges just finding it. Like when I'm writing, put some music on. For me, it's usually lights. It's usually lights, but sometimes other things as well. I'll just put words down on a page, or maybe I'll just draw. Like drawing is also good. Like I find being creative at all in any way is a good thing, right? It makes it, it's the same muscles, kind of, sort of. It is, they are and they aren't the same muscles, right? So so I get myself into that groove, and then once I'm there, right, um, then I find it's really easy for me to keep going to the work until I get tired. And then even then, when I'm tired, I push myself a little bit, because this is work, right? On some level, this is work, and you find you go past the rhythms, and you do the work, and I have
I
to
used to
say,
create, I used to create to music, but now I can't do it anymore.
oh,
I
it's
find
fine.
I find it distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the old way I used to do it was one round on a CD was one writing session. You know,
Ah, so it got too distracting, huh?
but then I had kids, and what happened was as they'd be napping, and when I'm talking when they're in baby mode, right? So you keep everything quiet, but I still had some creating to do, so I had to create the silence, and I actually it worked out. I enjoyed it,
Oh, that's cool.
and it's sort of the way I've ever done it since.
That's cool. I silence is nice sometimes, but I usually, for me, it's still music. So my my own take on Yggdrasil, the World Tree.
Ah, there you go.
There you go.
Cool.
Probably the simplest thing I've done tonight so far. But yes, I just realized that the World Tree is very much a network, a World Wide Web, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. So you could actually I put another branch there and almost like draw a circle around it, and it's like a spider web going all over the place. It's like, that's interesting. I never thought about it like that. And it's a thought for a future story somewhere down the road, for sure. Um, but that is me, and that is what I do, and I imagine and I tell stories, and that's just kind of how I roll. So I saw you got yourself a freelance gig. Congrats. Can you
Yeah,
talk
thank you.
about it? Or if you can't, you can. I totally get that.
Well, the most I'll say is just it's an editing gig.
Ah,
So I'll be editing somebody's novel.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I've been doing freelance editing for years.
You enjoy it?
I do. It's interesting and that's how I get some of my reading done throughout the year because I'm reading other people's work. I find it's a good way to really see the diversification in the written word and to see how different people tell different stories and read multiple authors, especially ones a lot of the time people haven't heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I enjoy it.
You enjoy it? Yeah. So, how many books have you personally helped bring into the world?
Oh, I've lost count around probably 170 plus.
So you're that kind of editor. So that's cool.
Yeah,
So
that's including my own work. So if you could subtract 40 from that.
okay, so 130. So 130. We're gonna minus the writing, creative, editing, giving birth to the awesome that is APFuchs to the rest of the world, right? But just helping others. So, right. So, can you list some of the people you've helped?
No,
No.
I kind of have this client confidentiality thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Because this was a good market. Well, I was trying to help you get some more because people know who you are.
Well, I'll do one. I did one for Dan Hawksworth.
Yeah.
I think. Do you know who he is?
I do not.
Oh, look him up on Facebook, man. His art is out of this world. It's very matrixy. But he wrote a cool fantasy story, and so he wanted me to edit it, and I did, and it was quite a good read. Definitely a good read.
Cool. Like that's fun. No, I brought that up. Now I'm actually going to try to draw. You brought the Matrix up, so I'm like, okay, that seems like a fun one. Try to draw Neo, since I'm afraid that I might still draw cold boobs, as my sister put on the last podcast.
Cold boobs.
Cold boobs, yeah. I discovered how to draw boobs. I tried drawing Katana, Mortal Kombat, and I'm like, well, I've never drawn boobs before, so how do I do that?
Yeah, well, they're depending on the pose. They're sometimes easy to draw, and sometimes they're difficult to draw. Depends on the pose the girl's in, because you got to consider all sorts of things to make them look realistic.
That's right.
They're not just circles on a chest. You know what I mean?
No, they're not. They're actually, what I found was that breasts are actually very heart shaped. Bill Maher actually does I did it with Bill Maher actually. He was one of the people that's come on the show to do art, and it was amazing because he just whips up the sketch and does it right in front of her so everybody can see how to do it, and it was really cool. I learned an awful lot working with Bill. And it was, like I said, I'm shocked at getting people like that to come on the show and just hang out with, to draw stuff with, which I think is incredible to me. But that's different. But to me, anyway, I was blown away that he even wanted to do it. So. But he did, and we had fun, and I learned a little bit how to draw boobs. But the ones I drew, they're kind of like out in the open. They're kind of cold. Like they'd be like almost like cleavage exposed to open air, right? So I always thought women that went to clubs in like -20 temperatures wearing like nothing were the toughest women I knew. Like literally the toughest women I ever knew, because I mean, you know what winters are like in Winnipeg, and I'm sure the women there dressing like nothing half the time. You're like, how are you doing that? Like, how are you not like losing oxygen? Right. And how are your legs not crying out to you? Hey, you can't do that. We need like, you know, warmth and circulation, right? So. That's just cold body, not just cold boobs, but still, I mean, that's kind of what it was. It was like the breasts I was drawing were out in like the open winter, right? And I imagine that hurts because it looks painful.
Yeah,
it looks painful. I can only imagine that it actually is painful, and I mean, I wouldn't know personally, and yes. I will never let that go. I also learned how to draw porn stashes with, of all things, Lego. So.
Okay, how about you think of this drawing here? And do you think this is at least brought it up a little bit?
Let's see. That is way better. Yeah, that's something cool. So Batman. So who's your favorite of the mainstream superheroes?
Superman, all the way.
Superman all the way?
Superman all the way, ever since always. Who's your favorite?
Green Lantern.
That's cool.
Yeah, Green Lantern, because Green Lantern. Wow, transcode isn't that hard.
How's your Neo coming along?
He's gonna need some work. He looks more like an agent than Neo, but that's okay. I'm learning. I learned stuff, and that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
I didn't discover anything new and exciting this time, folks. There is no porn stash in the Hawaii. Although I could get Neo porn stash. I probably could get Neo porn stash. But I don't know if that would do the character justice or not. I mean, Keanu Reeves, I don't think should have a porn stash.
No.
That's just my opinion. I'm sure other people will disagree with me on that one, but anyone listening to this is probably laughing their asses off just a little bit, because because as you can tell, I take myself very seriously, Mr. AP. I take myself super seriously when I'm doing this. And this is where also I'm going to need color too, because now I could definitely do Keanu's face better, but the line work isn't too bad. But the face. Again, not terrible.
That's not terrible, no.
No, it's not terrible.
Looks
Not
good.
terrible. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean I have drawn John Stewart on the podcast. So I mean, if I had to pick, I grew up reading Kyle, so I'm always going to have like a soft spot there. I like Hal, although I do think as a character he's kind of bland. My favorite Lantern, though, in terms of like money, is John. I think John Stewart has a lot of untapped potential, and that's just my opinion. I just think he has a lot of untapped potential as a character, and we still barely scratched that surface. I'm just adding a little more detail to Neo before I move on to my next attempt at something cool. I gave him some very long fingers. Very long fingers, but that's okay. So,
What do you got?
I'm just showing real quick. Just adds just a little more detail to him. Nothing major, but just
That's
a little
cool.
bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit more. I'm letting myself have fun, and that's actually the biggest rule I think of all time is you just go in there, we have a good time, have some fun. By the way, thanks for doing this with me again, man. You brave soul. So.
No problem. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, at some point this year, it will probably get a little saner. I'm assuming at some point. Of your friends, actually, are there any friends you're not able to see in this time?
Just one friend.
Yep.
All my other friends moved away, like my main group of people. So the one friend who stayed behind, I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't seen him since September.
Okay, so I mean, you're still in touch with Soccer Mom, by the way, Christine. If you're watching this, hi. Still in touch with Mindy, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah. Imagining. Hi, Mindy. She just liked it. So hey, Mindy, what's up? So let's see. Andrew, yay, nay, no.
He lives in Selkirk, so it's a bit of a drive to go see him, and our schedules kind of conflict.
No, I got you.
Yeah, so I only see him here and there.
Okay.
But I see Greg Chimichuk and
Yeah.
Jonathan Ball. Did you meet those guys?
I know Greg, yes. I know Greg for sure. John rings a bell, but I don't know if I have seen him or not.
Okay, well, yeah, I get together with those guys once in a while too, and we talk shop, talk craft, that sort of stuff.
I hope they're doing okay.
Yeah, they seem to be. I was on a Zoom call with Greg the other day.
That's cool.
He and I have similar beards, winter beards going.
So when does your beard come off again?
When it starts to look like spring, so it could be late March, early April.
That's right. So we're gonna call you Santa Hitman here. Actually, that would be an amazing. See, that'd be a fun story to tell. So my favorite actually Mindy story. I don't own one copy of it yet, but my favorite one is the one she did with Christine, the high maintenance slaves, the apocalypse.
Right.
I feel because of Winnipeg being so freaking cold and everybody doing the beard thing, you can almost do like a zombie beard of the apocalypse. Like during the winter time, that everybody transforms into like giant monsters, and it makes the winter even more.
It's a good title too. The Beard of the Zombies.
Yeah, the bearded zombies of Winnipeg, right? And so or make them like frost giants. If it's Chadwick writing the story, it would be the bearded giants of Winnipeg, and because Chadwick is a huge man, and I mean that in the most loving of ways. But just have it everybody during the winter time, the beards just start and they just spread everywhere, and anybody it's a giant beard becomes this like giant monster. So I mean it's like, and once you grow a beard, there's no cure. It's almost, you'd be like a weird like virus / like silly winter peg kind of tail, and then it's all over in the springtime, and everyone forgets, and then every winter it repeats all over again. I don't know. Seems silly, but hey, why not?
Why not?
And if you would like to see me try to write this story, ladies and gentlemen, put a comment below, and I will see what I can do. I'm still trying to think about what to draw next.
I'm gonna have to do a bathroom break soon.
Go do a bathroom break. When you come back, I'll do a tea break, and then we'll just take turns talking to the audience and seeing what's said. So go do your bathroom break, my friend, and we'll come back and then we'll wrap this bad boy up. Probably next, probably half hour or so, or whenever you feel like you're done.
I got about maybe 10 minutes left.
If you got 10 minutes, do you want to just wrap up now then? Do you want to just wrap her up? Because we've gone an hour.
Sure.
Yeah, we've had a pretty good chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is APFuchs, writer, editor, illustrator extraordinaire. He was gracious enough to come back again. This time around to draw with me because he's awesome and he's a man of many talents. So, AP, what's coming up for you? Has anything changed since last time, or has anything evolved?
The main thing I've been working on is the Frederick's comics. So that's the main thing I've been putting my focus in on every day.
So show that picture. That's the time. Now you bring that picture.
Yeah. There he is.
Yeah.
And you can see the web address there too.
Kind of. Why don't you say it out loud for people to actually?
It's just www.frederikus.com. Frederikus is spelled.
How do you spell that, my friend?
FREDRIKUS.
Frederikus.com.
.com. You can go there now.
Like that. See?
And then it's got a little navigation thing on the bottom, so you can navigate between the different comic strips.
Yeah. No, I'm just putting it out there for people that can actually see a comment on my Twitch right now. I'll do that as well.
Oh, there's no C there. You misspelled it.
I misspelled it.
Yeah, it's RIKUS, not RICK.
Okay, my mistake, folks. RIK.
Yeah, RIK.
PDRIKUS.com. There we go.
There it is.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's the one.
That's the correct one. And I'll put that.
If I go over here, let's see if I happens if I click on it.
I'm adding to the. Yep, no, it works. It works because I know it works because I just did it on Facebook as well, so people can come and watch and read and see and do, because that is what we do. It's all there. Yay! See, all the comments, they're there, kind of, sort of. So that's what we're doing tonight, folks, is we are doing a fun little drink and draw. So check out his comic at frederikus.com, his subscription. Maybe we can get him to go put it on Webtoon so he can make his zillions and zillions of dollars. APFuchs, comic creator extraordinaire. But he also freelance edits. If people want to do that, how can they do that?
I'm very affordable compared to a lot of editors that are out there. I'm very affordable. I try to keep the author's budget in mind because I'm an author myself. So I don't charge an arm and a leg for it, but I charge it's fair. But they can go to my website at canisterx.com, and they'll see a little thing called publishing services. Just click on that, and you get a drop down of all the different services I offer in terms of publishing.
Okay, so and then beyond that, I can hear it somehow, some way. I hear an echo, but that's okay. We're at the end of the stream anyway. All right, and so check out this comic. When is it? How often do you release new episodes?
Usually it's twice a week, but as to what days particularly, it could be any day of the week.
So twice a week. Okay, twice a week. Frederikus.com. You can find AP on Facebook as APFuchs. You can also find him on social media the same way, right? And beyond all that, we have done a wonderful little episode of Drink and Draw tonight. Tomorrow night, Julia, and I should be more prepared than what I am, but that is how it goes. Give me a second here. Just do this really quick. Julia Jinkyong, I hope I said this right. If I don't say this right, Julia, please don't beat me. Julia Jinkyong Allen is my guest tomorrow night, and that'll be it for the interviews this week. Next week, I have 5 interviews, kind of make up for the fact that this week was such a short week. But this is the show tonight, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching or listening. However you get this. I thank AP for coming on.
No problem. It was fun.
Yeah, and that will do it. Guys, stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. I'll see you tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, for Julia Jinkyong. Jeez, I hope I said that right. I really do.